Welcome back, Pokemon players. I'm Dan Levinson, and I'm joined by Tommy Coileen.
Wow.
Coileen? It's what? It's already like
Cooling.
what? It's like 5:30.
Okay,
Come
we're both
on, come
tired.
on, we're tired. So, anyway, we are going to be going into a round six match momentarily between Jake Skirchek and Alvin Hidiot. But first, we have to explain a bit of a technical problem that we had. Well, not technical, but more of a problem with his team sheet on Alvin.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what happened is in his team sheet, he did not write the Therian form. He is running Landorus. So in addition to that, he did a mistake on writing a stat. And unfortunately, because of those two combined errors, he will be losing that Landorus.
Yeah, that also results in a game one loss. So, going into this set, Alvin will be down a game and has to win two, where Jake only needs to win one game in the set, which is really impactful when you go into a set like this because if you're Jake, you can take more risks and just like try and find info in game one, whereas Alvin has to sit back and make sure he doesn't lose game one at all costs. There's no time to find info, and he's also playing without that Landorus because, like we said, with the two specific errors, if like with a small level tournament like this as a midseason, this early on in the format, maybe if it was just the Therian, not writing down Therian, maybe you can just get a warning. But because the Landorus also has an error with stats, there's no choice but to take it out at this point, and agree with the judging staff on that.
Exactly, but unfortunately with that, he's literally going to have to play pretty straight and not going to be making any mistakes if he wants to get in and win this game two to force a game three.
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly what we're doing, if we have taken off the Mon yet, or if we're still waiting for that.
I mean, I believe he's going to lose that Landorus, but it looks like they're still coordinating with the judges if they're going to be removing it or not.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Background on the players, though, while
Yeah.
we're here. Alvin, of course, is a player that came into the game after playing largely in the online circuits, and has been doing pretty well along with that other group of players, Nick Navarre and Rajan Wall, who have also done well from the same group. Um, they've done pretty well since they started playing last year in 2017, each of them picking up at least one or two regional cuts. So Alvin looking to continue on that, making the trip all the way down from, I believe, Virginia area. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a long drive up here, and after a long day of Pokemon, it's probably the worst thing that want to happen to you. But he's still in it. He still has a chance to play well enough to make it in the top cut. You still can make it with the 5 Mons. It's a big disadvantage, especially with an important Pokemon like Landorus, but definitely still possible. Definitely still something he can bounce back from.
I don't know. If anything, honestly, Alvin is a pretty veteran player in the game. He has been competing competitively since 2006. I remember
Right, yeah.
him from the Journey Across America. He competed back in 2011 regionals. He top 4'd DC.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So he knows his stuff, and if there's anyone that's going to try and bounce back from this, it's going to be him. So I think he's still going to give us a really good game 2 match, and we'll see if he's be able to pull it off and bring a game 3.
Yeah. Jake, of course, is a local player who has done very, very well over the last few years. Most notably, I believe, at 2016 Nationals, where he finished in, I think
Top
it was
16.
top 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, top 16 at that Nationals, and has got a Day 2 Worlds invite that year, and has been a mainstay in the New York, New Jersey area for the last couple of years. So continue to see great things from him, and he continues to improve and impress us. So really good match we have on stream. It's just unfortunate with the circumstances that, especially since we don't find out until we go into these stream matches, because what we do is when we pull these stream matches, we have to take up the team sheets so that we can input all the data on the overlays and such. And going through these team sheets, looking through them and seeing the errors is very unfortunate. So we don't have time to check all the team sheets beforehand, and we just catch it now. And yeah, he's played 5 rounds of Pokemon today with that Landorus, and he's got to have to win at least one more without it, possibly 2, depending on how his resistance looks. So
Yeah, both of these players are undefeated right now. So,
Oh,
no, they're X1.
one
Yeah,
loss,
okay,
yeah.
whoops. Okay, because the other player that we have, he hasn't been on streams yet, but the other has, so we can't put them on yet. But I can expect them to both be making it into top 8, specifically Angel Miranda, because he is our other undefeated player, so we should be expecting to see him in top cut.
Yeah, I know a lot of you have been wanting
Yeah.
to see Angel, and we'll try and get him on relatively soon. He's playing well enough today, so hopefully he should be making into cut. Looks like we should be getting ready to start relatively soon. I think we've handled the team sheet error, and most of the penalties have been addressed accordingly. So we're just waiting for the players to get set up and it should be ready to go relatively soon.
Yeah, once they went over everything, we'll get those team sheets and we'll be bringing you what kind of teams they're running. So
Yeah.
I really expect to see good teams. But hey, it looks like he's keeping the Landorus.
Oh,
Uh, okay, no, I still okay. There we go. There's the team sheets.
is that
So
correct?
wait, is Landorus still going to be there though? Oh, so it's still going to be there though. Okay,
Okay.
gotcha. All right. So let's go over those teams. We got Alvin on the left with the team of Tyranitar, Kartana, Amoonguss, Zapdos, Tapu Lele, and Landorstarian. Well, without the Landorstarian, so 5 Pokemon. And the Tapu Koko, Politoed, Incineroar, Gothitelle, Ludicolo, and Mawile for Jake.
Yeah, we've seen this Goth Maw team that we've seen from 2015 kind of updated, and this is the very standard version of it. The exact same 6 we've seen a couple other players in this tournament running as well. It's very standard, it's very solid, and luckily for Alvin, I don't think there's a matchup that he really needs to bring the Landorus to. Against Rain, it's very, very hard to bring the Landorus. There are some mons that you might want to have it for, the Mawile, the Incineroar, the Tapu Koko, as well as there being no common ground immunity. So definitely a strong mon here, but definitely not something that you have to have just because of the threat of Rain. Rain is a huge threat, and Landorus really doesn't want to have to deal with that. Kartana and Tyranitar, however, can change the weather, and then Kartana can use its being faster in the sand to potentially knock out the stuff like the Ludicolo and the Politoed. So definitely have some very, very strong tools. Amoonguss is also something that's really good in this matchup. You force Jake to potentially bring the Tapu Koko. So definitely a lot of wiggle room for Alvin here with the mons that he still has.
Exactly, and we're going to go right into the match now. Jake is going to be on the top of your screen, leading off with that Incineroar and Mawile. Alvin leading with Tyranitar and Amoonguss. So going to get that Intimidate now from the Mawile as Tyranitar's Sandstream does activate first, so we know that it's going to be moving before that Pokemon. But with the Sandstream, it is going to get that boost in special defense. And with that, I guess, do you think probably a Rage Powder from the Amoonguss to try and redirect maybe a low kick if it's carrying it?
This seems like a bit of a game of chicken almost,
Yeah.
because Incineroar beats the Amoonguss, the Mawile intimidated the Tyranitar, and Amoonguss also applies the threat of a potential Spore. So you kind of want to bring in Tapu Koko here, but also like really don't want to switch in on a Rock Slide. Intimidate definitely helps if you want to do for that, go for that, but not a lot of safe plays overall for either player.
Alvin switching out that Tyranitar, bringing in the Kartana. Kartana will be putting a bit of pressure onto Jake's side perhaps later, but Mega Mawile now taking the field with that huge power ability, so it will be boosting that attack stat, and Incineroar with the fake out onto Amoonguss, preventing it from doing an attack for this turn, but Iron Head onto that Kartana. Even with that paper thin defenses, not going to do a whole lot there.
Yeah, interesting to see the Kartana coming in on the field with a fire type. There is now 2 grass types that really don't want to face down against that Incineroar, but nonetheless, the Incineroar might be a little bit scared of the Kartana, potentially going for something like a Sacred Sword. Does a lot of damage, potentially something like an all-out pummeling, although we haven't really seen that too much this year, more of a 2017 set. Definitely other possibilities here. One thing to note is that Incineroar might be able to do enough damage to the Amoonguss that the Flare Blitz Recoil might put the Incineroar into Sacred Sword range. I think it's a little bit too high on health to do that, but definitely a possibility.
Incineroar switching out for Jake, and Jake sending out that Gothitelle, so if it's carrying that Shadow Tag ability, it's going to be trapping both of Alvin's Pokemon. Mawile going for a Protect right now, preventing any damage dealt to it, and Amoonguss with the redirect, so kind of a null turn for Alvin here. What does we do? We do get that is the Supersonic Sky Strike.
That is actually going to be a Z Tailwind, so.
Okay. Oh, that's true, yeah, because of the Tailwind. So it will be getting that boost for the next 4 turns, but with the added effect of increasing, was it speed also?
Critical hit ratio.
It's critical, okay. So that's another nifty thing about Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon with those move tutors. So it does have access to Tailwind now.
Yeah, and with the Z Tailwind, we do get the raised critical hit ratio, which raises it by 2 stages, and with the natural built-in crit ratio raised from Leaf Blade, every single Leaf Blade will be critting now. Sacred Sword, if it does carry that, or whatever coverage move that does have that isn't raised by crit, will now be a 50-50 chance to crit. So definitely some odds stacked in Kartana's favor, especially now that has been intimidated or hasn't. But regardless, it can't be intimidated for the rest of the game now.
Helping hand from Gothitelle onto that Mawile, so Mawile's going to get a bit of a boost there. Sacred Sword onto Mawile also, taking it at almost half, and the Spore. So Mawile, even with that boost in its stat, thanks to that Helping Hand, won't be able to do anything this turn thanks to it falling asleep.
Yeah, very surprising to see the Amoonguss outspeeding the Mawile there and getting the Spore off. We do not have Trick Room up, so that's just a much faster Amoonguss. Even a very min-speed Mawile still needs a decent amount of speed on the Amoonguss to actually outspeed the Mawile. So fortunate for Alvin there, and if you were to get a crit on this next Sacred Sword, that should be enough to take up the knockout on the Mawile. So Amoonguss is pretty free to just keep going for Spores as long as there's not a Tapu Koko in the back, which if we haven't seen it already, I'm not sure if we'll see for the rest of the game.
Exactly, that's definitely something that even I as a player, I would have switched in, because thanks to the electric terrain, it does prevent grounded Pokemon from falling asleep. But other than that, Gothitelle, depending on what item it's carrying also, but like you mentioned, it does get that increased critical hit chance thanks to the Z Tailwind. There's the Protect from the Gothitelle, and Sacred Sword onto that Mawile again. It is going to take it right under half with that critical hit, and Spore onto Gothitelle. So, oh, there is the Wake Up though, Iron Head from the Mawile thanks to that, and takes Amoonguss all the way down into the red.
Yep. That's a really good amount of damage on the Amoonguss there. There is no berry there for Amoonguss to eat, so it is going to have to, maybe outspeed the Mawile, maybe get another Spore off onto it. Gothitelle should be able to take a Leaf Blade from here, so it's not like Kartana can just, pick up a knockout and stop the Gothitelle from Psychicking the Amoonguss. Amoonguss could just go down to a Psychic here. But, Kartana does have options to maybe just, KO the Mawile. Otherwise, you can just get really good damage off onto the Gothitelle. There's definitely options here for your Alvin.
And even then, Amoonguss could also be switching out, depending if it wants to save it for later. It likely is carrying that Regenerator abilities, so it's going to restore a bit of its health thanks to that. But otherwise, Alvin is in a pretty decent spot thanks to that Z Tailwind. There's the redirect with the Rage Powder from Amoonguss. All attacks gaining onto it. Oh, there's a Sucker Punch, so thanks to the redirection, it's not going to do anything this turn. And there is a Leaf Blade critical hit, and with that, Gothitelle is down for the count for this turn.
Yeah, and that Beast Boost is going to be huge here.
Yeah, with the Beast Boost, and also Tailwind Peltering out. We got the Sand also being removed, so maybe Alvin, depending on how he plays this next turn, might want to bring back that Tyranitar, reset it again.
Yeah, I think it's very clear to see that Amoonguss likely outsped that Mawile because of the Tailwind. Forgetting about the Tailwind there on my end, so that's my bad. Yeah. But, Kartana's still in a very good spot here. Like we said, Sacred Sword has a 50-50 chance to crit this Incineroar here, so maybe we see something like a double protect from the Kartana and the Amoonguss. Try and stall out that fake out, and then Kartana should be able to, try and fish for a knockout on either Pokemon here. Big damage being able to, take out that Gothitelle last turn, and that's really huge. It allowed Amoonguss to stay on the field for another turn, which is really good for Alvin.
Yeah, but with Incineroar now making its debut on this match right now, could be doing. I mean, it is a Fire type, double weakness from both of them, but Kartana going for a Protect for Alvin, and there is a double Protect on his side of the field. So no more damage being dealt here, and with that, a Fake Out onto that Amoonguss, and Play Rough on that Kartana slot. So I think Alvin right now probably just, you think, scouting a bit more for this game?
I think he just wants to burn the Fake Out. So this turn he can go for a Rage Powder and then try to either Sacred Sword the Incineroar, which with the crit should pick up the knockout. Without it, we'll do probably around half. It might actually pick up a knockout with the Beast Boost now. Since I don't believe the Kartana was ever intimidated, so it should be at +1. So Sacred Sword might just be able to pick up a knockout depending on how invested this Kartana is. Otherwise, you just have a clean knockout on the Mawile, and potentially what you could do is you go for Sacred Sword into the Incineroar and just maybe throw a Spore into the Mawile if you're not too afraid of what the Mawile can go for. Since Iron Head shouldn't pick up the knockout on Kartana from this range.
I believe we did see that Spore, the Amoonguss going first before the Mawile, but Rage Powder, all attacks being, again, directed onto it, and there is a Sacred Sword. Is that even a crit? No, it doesn't even need it, thanks to that Beast Boost. So Incineroar getting taken out, and with that, another Beast Boost. And now Kartana is at +2 in attack, and Iron Head onto that Amoonguss, and that will be a KO on Alvin's side.
Yeah, and with this Mawile and such low health, it's going to be really, really hard for Jake to come back. I don't think there's any Mon in the back to really save him here. It's going to be one of the Water Mons, which doesn't want to see Kartana, or else I think we would have seen the Koko a lot sooner in this game.
So with that, Jake is going to sound his is that fourth Pokemon, Politoed and Tyranitar. So we'll see which one of these are going to go first to get the weather advantage. Tyranitar is faster than Politoed, so we'll activate its Sandstream. However, Politoed is going to be slower, and so Drizzle will be on the field. So rain is falling down on the field, and I don't know. Tyranitar is still fast though, so probably a Rock Slide, and he still has that flinch chance too.
Oh, you don't even need to risk it. With only 2 Pokemon left on Jake's side, you can probably just go for a Leaf Blade into the Leaf Blade into the Politoed, and just go for maybe like a Crunch or a Low Kick into the Mawile. Just 2 safe plays. It should be able to pick up the knockouts. The only reason why you wouldn't do that is maybe if you fear that Kartana might go down to a Sucker Punch. And wow, it's a Mega T-Tar.
Well, there's a Tyranitar-ite from that Tyranitar. So it's going to activate its Sandstream, so we'll be bringing that back, so it won't really have to worry in case perhaps this is a Scarf Politoed, but Sucker Punch from that Mawile onto Kartana, it won't be enough, and with that Leaf Blade onto Politoed, we'll be getting the KO on it with a critical hit, but with all those Beast Boosts, it really doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, and this should just be a clean knockout on that Tyranitar. We don't know if it has another move like a Low Kick or... yeah, Low Kick, Rock Slide, Crunch is generally the moves that you see with a Dragon Dance thrown in there over one of those moves, likely the Low Kick. But if he was hiding something else, then potentially maybe not wanting to reveal it there. But all likelihood, it's probably just like Rock Slide, Crunch, and Dragon Dance there.
Well, with that, Alvin does take the first game in this best-of-3 series. Oh, yeah, game loss, that's right. He does have the game loss, so Alvin is going to be having to claw his way back because he has that game 1 loss. So going now into game 3, yes. So with the game 3 now, clearly it shows Landers didn't really make a big of an issue. He didn't really need it that badly, so he can get around it without having to ever use it because it's not really useful for rain matchup.
Right, like we did see that Jake did bring all the mons that Landers would have helped against. He brought the Incineroar, the Mawile, but still he was able to handle it very, very well. I think that if you're Jake, you probably can do a very similar game plan, but you need to get Trick Room up a lot sooner in the game. It was very clear that not getting up Trick Room really hurt his game plan there. Maybe leading something like Gothitelle Mawile puts him in a better spot to pick off the T-Tar potentially. Since T-Tar seems like the only thing that can really throw in the Gothitelle super hard in turn 1 besides maybe the Amoonguss.
I mean, as we saw earlier, that Z Tailwind was also really huge too, getting the chance to increase your critical hits. And with that, we saw so many critical hits, and they actually made a bit of a difference. I think the biggest one probably being that Gothitelle, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The Leaf Blade crit on the Gothitelle, picking up the knockout, denied speed control from the rest of the game. And from there, the Kartana was just kind of free to fire off Leaf Blades and pick up some knockouts.
All right, well, we're going into game 3 now between Alvin and Jake. Alvin playing that game perfectly, and we'll see if he's able to take this set, even losing his Landorus Therian from this game. So going into this match now, we'll see who are the leads for both of them. I'm expecting probably, I think Rain is still good for Jake if he's still going to go that route.
Yeah, we are going to see the Gothitelle at the first turn of the game, which I think is a good adjustment for Jake.
It's like you said, though, speed control was huge, so now no surprise to see Gothitelle being let out here with the Incineroar, and Alvin leading with his Tyranitar and Zapdos.
Yeah, Zapdos is actually a mon that we did not see in the previous game, so a bit of a change for Alvin. I want to know what he brought that over, since Kartana and the Amoonguss both seem to be putting in a decent amount of work. They could both be in the back as well. I don't think we actually saw Alvin's last mon in last game.
I don't think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he just kind of ran over the game with the Kartana,
yeah.
And we never actually got to see it.
Yep, exactly. But going into for this one, I wouldn't be surprised seeing a Fake Out and a Trick Room maybe. But perhaps even Tyranitar could just go for a Crunch here, do you think?
Yeah, I'll try to go for a Crunch. I think that the Incineroar probably wants to fake out the T-Tar, and then Gothitelle can set up Trick Room. The big thing here is whether or not the Incineroar has a Low Kick. I think that's a really big a turning point in how this game plays out.
Well, there's the Heat Wave from Zapdos. It will be missing Incineroar, but most importantly, it does hit that Gothitelle. And there is the Trick Room for Gothitelle, so dimensions are flipped, and now the slower Pokemon will be moving first.
Yeah. Again, it really comes down to whether or not this Incineroar has Low Kick. If it has Low Kick, you can just go for a Low Kick into the T-Tar slot, and Gothitelle can either go for a Protect, maybe throw a Psychic into the Zapdos. Few options for Gothitelle here. If you don't have Low Kick on Incineroar, you probably just want to switch out into Mawile, get the Intimidate and Pressure.
Oh, there's the reveal. Low kick from Incineroar. One hit KO on that Tyranitar. It is ×4 weakness, so Tyranitar already getting knocked out, and Gothitelle with the Side Shock will be targeting that Zapdos. So already being at about a quarter damage there, and the Heat Wave again connecting on both of these Pokemon this time. So Gothitelle and Incineroar taking a bit of damage there also, thanks to the Sandstream.
Yeah, this is one of the beautiful things about Gothitelle. You're able to just trap in Pokemon that might not be useful against the Pokemon you have out, and you can just focus down the other side. The Zapdos here against the Incineroar and the Gothitelle not doing nearly enough, and while Gothitelle and Incineroar both hit this Amoonguss for super effective damage, Amoonguss does have the pressure to Spore since Trick Room is up, and it's definitely something that Jake has to worry about in the coming turns.
Who do you think is the best important one to Spore? I assume the Incineroar, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But after that, though, Zapdos, I guess, going for more Heat Waves, but I think the biggest thing is probably to be targeting that Gothitelle, because it's still putting pressure on you not being able to switch around. But instead, we are going to get the Spore from the Amoonguss. It is going to target that Incineroar, so Incineroar does get that guaranteed one turn of sleep, but Gothitelle using the Side Shock, is it going to... Oh, okay, it does target the Zapdos. I guess that's a bigger threat that Jake finds, and Zapdos going for a Thunderbolt. Double target for Alvin onto that Incineroar now.
Yeah, the Incineroar seems to be a big problem, and if you can take it out before it wakes back up, I think you're in a really good spot if you're Alvin. However, the Side Shock looks like it'll be enough to pick up a knockout on the Zapdos based on the damage from the first one. So, if Alvin does not have Protect on that Zapdos, he's going to be forced to Rage Powder and take a Side Shock on the Amoonguss, which he doesn't want to do. But he might have to do that in order to keep the Zapdos alive this next turn.
Exactly. I think just targeting the Zapdos, that's a free KO for Jake, and then maybe Incineroar will be waking up this turn, but Gothitelle getting the Protect now, and Amoonguss with the Spore targeting that Gothitelle slot, so not going to do anything here. Incineroar does wake up, so Flare Blitz, we'll see who it targets now. Probably going to be that Zapdos, so Zapdos is going to be getting taken out, and now with that, Alvin is going to lose his second Pokemon for this game.
Yeah, and with Incineroar awake now, Amoonguss can just go for another Spore, but we're actually going to see the Berry activate on the Incineroar, so Sand taking down a little bit, and likely putting the Incineroar out of range, something like a Sludge Bomb if the Amoonguss does carry it.
Yeah, but I think Incineroar is still doing a really good job thanks to the Trick Room. I think it's still being in a good control with that. Kartana being brought out for Alvin now, so unfortunately that is going to be two Pokemon that are weak to Incineroar, but he still has that Amoonguss. He could probably just go for another Spore on the Incineroar, and then maybe he still hasn't used the Z Tailwind yet, and Trick Room is almost going to expire, so that could be an option for him, you think?
Yeah, and the Z Tailwind on the Kartana allows Amoonguss to outspeed a good number of things on Jake's team once they're in Tailwind outside of Trick Room. So Amoonguss not really a Pokemon that generally benefits from Tailwind, but here it actually could put in quite a bit of work.
Incineroar switching out for Jake, bringing in his Mawile, and with that we get the Intimidate drop, but Spore onto that Mawile slot won't be doing anything for this next turn. And Gothitelle with the Psychic Shock, but it does reveal that super effective Reducing Berry.
Payapa Berry.
Yeah, it's Payapa. Okay. Payapa?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Payapa Berry. I haven't seen that in forever, but there is the Z move. As we saw before, it is going to be that Z Tailwind, and with that, it is going to get that boost in speed as well as the increase in its critical hits. But with that, also increasing in speed for the Tailwind, because it's Trick Room is expiring now. Now, okay.
Yeah.
So now Amoonguss is going to be faster. Probably, I guess, Spore the Mawile and then knock out the Gothitelle, or...
I don't know here. Like, Gothitelle could be protecting, maybe just try and stall out turns while the Mawile is asleep. We still don't know the last Pokemon for Jake. It could be something that isn't the Politoed this game, and I think that's what you're hoping for if you are Jake, because you just need to beat the Kartana. If you can beat the Kartana, you win the game, but the problem is that, getting around this Amoonguss is going to be a pretty tough task without that Incineroar.
If Jake can try and preserve that Incineroar and bring it out in time, then he'll be able to deal good damage, but however, he still needs to be watching out for that Sacred Sword from Kartana. Mega Mawile coming out for Jake. Gothitelle going for a Protect, so trying to hold out there, probably going for another Spore onto that Gothitelle slot, but the Sacred Sword onto that Mawile from the Kartana. There's the critical hit, and there's the Spore from Amoonguss, so Amoonguss really being able to take advantage of that Tailwind right now.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to have to see Alvin try and like make the most of this tailwind, because if Jake's able to stall a tailwind and get the Incineroar back in, he'll be able to fire off a Flare Blitz into the Amoonguss, and Incineroar should be able to take a Sacred Sword as long as it doesn't get crit, because the Kartana is currently at -1 attack. However, it does have a 50-50 chance to crit, so definitely a chance for Incineroar just to go down from a Sacred Sword, and he might have to try and find the damage with his last Mon within the back.
I think even a Sacred Sword onto that Mawile would bring him back to +1, and he'll be able to deal enough damage possibly onto that Incineroar. So, gonna have to see how Jake plays this out, but okay, he does go for that. Sacred Sword onto the Mawile. It is enough. He does get another critical hit, so Mawile is gonna go down for this turn. There's the Beast Boost, so it'll be increasing its attack stage, and a Side Shock from Gothitail onto that Amoonguss. We're going to get a whole lot, and okay, just brings it down into the red, so it's not going to get the KO. However, another Spore onto that Gothitail is going to prevent it from attacking.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that he could possibly have in the back right now, honestly, either the Ludicolo or the Coco, both of them allow him to bring in something that can't be put to sleep, which is huge. If it is that Politoed, he's going to be in a bit of a weird spot, since, Kartana can just pick up a knockout here. And I guess if you're Jake, in that case, you just hope that your Politoed can outspeed the Amoonguss and force a turn where you can throw 2 attacks into the Amoonguss slot, and then hope that, you can maybe get a 50-50 turn where you have to, where Alvin has to guess whether or not the Pokemon next to Gothitail is protecting or not. To call whether or not, Trick Room's going up.
I think at this point, though, since we haven't seen the top of Coco, yeah, there. So like we predicted, it's probably going to be that Politoed, because otherwise he probably would have been switching it out earlier and preventing the Spore on Jake's side. But with Politoed out now and Tailwind still in effect, it's going to be kind of rocky for Jake right now.
Yeah, I imagine that we'll probably just see something along the lines of a Leaf Blade into the Politoed, or a Leaf Blade into the Gothitail, maybe a Spore into the Politoed. Leaf Blade into Politoed might be a little bit safer, but you do have to worry about the Gothitail potentially waking up soon. But it cannot wake up this turn, so maybe it is a little bit safer going to Politoed. It just depends on whether or not you think maybe Incineroar comes in.
Yeah, I think it's better that way, because then at least you get the guaranteed sleep. And with Gothitail, there's still a chance that it could wake up, it could fall asleep. But I think at this point, Alvin is playing his odds right now. He's down to his last 2 Pokemon. So he really just needs to, I guess, try and focus, and getting that knockout onto the Gothitail is his main priority, I think.
Yeah, if he's able to go for Protect here and switch out his Gothitail into the Incineroar, I think that's probably his best play, and I think he's going to go for that. And let's see if Alvin can call this and throw a Spore into that Gothitail slot.
So there's a switch out. Incineroar now taking its place for Gothitail. Protect from the Politoed. How did Alvin play this out? Goes for the Leaf Blade. He does target that Amoonguss. Did he go for this? He went for the Sludge Bomb. So it's not going to be doing a whole... okay, he did a decent amount, but he did get the poison, though, so that is going to make a bit of a difference. Oh, no, he can't Spore it now. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, nope, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, because now the Incineroar is in range of a Sludge Bomb, but not being able to get Spored is also like kind of okay, because you don't want sweeping Pokemon on the field. I think if you're Alvin or you're Jake, you're probably just going for a Fake Out into Kartana and go for a Scald into the Amoonguss.
All right, well, there's the Fake Out onto that Kartana. We're going to get the flinch. Perish Song. Okay, ooh. So now Alvin needs to really start getting KOs here. But honestly, he has Protect on his Pokemon. He has 3 Pokemon left. If he switches out 1, he might be able to, I guess, get ahead. But he does get the poison, though. So is that pretty good, though? Because of him down to his last 2 Pokemon, it's not affected by Perish Song, or?
The problem here is that he's got a sleeping Gothitail.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's still sleeping.
Yeah, okay. I don't think he can wake up this turn either. I think he has 1 guaranteed turn of sleep. All right, which means he probably needs to go for, Protect and Scald, and then hope that you can, or actually probably need to Protect the Politoed here, depending on where you think the Leaf Blade's going. I think you have a chance to win this, but it's going to be very, very hard.
I think right now, though, at least if I was in Alvin's shoes, I'd probably want to target that Gothitail. It's still asleep. And Politoed might be protecting this turn, so then that way it'd still be a 2v1, and Alvin might be able to squeak out here. But there is probably a Protect from the Gothitail. Leaf Blade is what's it going to connect to it. It does go for the God. Does it? Okay, it does. Oh, another critical hit. Guaranteed. But again, Beast Boost though. Yeah. So that would have been a knockout anyway, and it's just going to get another one. So this is going to be Alvin's match. It looks like Scald. We will connect onto the move. Oh, 4 HP, but is it? No. Okay. And there's a Spore. So with that, Alvin should be taking this match.
Yeah, Skull actually not getting the Amoonguss there kind of surprised me. He had a chance to win that game. He needed to hit a double protect of the Polytoad if he picked up that knockout on the Amoonguss with no knockout though. That will be game and interesting. But Alvin did come back and win after losing Amon and losing a game. So kudos to Alvin. That's a really tough win to try and pull off, but a very important one, and keeps him in the hunt for top cut.
Exactly. Told you, Tommy. I told you, my man Alvin, he was going to do it. 5 Pokemon.
He's
5 Pokemon. If there's anyone that was going to make it out, it was probably going to be him.
Hey, I'll have you know, I am a combined 0-3 at Internet against players with 5 Mons. I've never been in a player with 5 Mon at Internet. I don't know what it is. I have this whole justice thing in their head, and they just go on super overdrive mode and just
I mean, honestly, I was going to compare Alvin to Dave when he had the same thing
in
Australia. Yeah, see, exactly, yeah. It's like he has 5 Pokemon, he lost his Kartana, still made finals. So, those kind of players, you can still do it even with your 5 Pokemon, but I will probably going to be doing an interview just for the fact that you played with 5 Pokemon, you still came back to win the match. So,
Yep.
So, we are finished with round 6 right now. We are going to do... Okay, cool, yeah. So we'll be doing it with an interview with Alvin, see how much pressure he had to deal with that game. So stay tuned. Welcome back, Pokemon players. I am with Alvin Hidiot. Congratulations with your 5 Pokemon team.
Thanks.
So, going into the match, I was looking at me and Tommy. We were like, I don't know, 5 Pokemon. But again, we were looking at Jake's team, and he was running Rain. So you didn't really need to bring it. It's kind of a useful Pokemon. He does have Gothitelle, and I didn't really look at your sets. Maybe you're running U-Turn, so you could get out of it. Yeah. But in the end, though, it seemed like you didn't really need it after all.
I did have U-Turn, and looking into that team, I have faced that kind of team before, and I usually relied a lot on Landorus. But with Landorus being removed, I had to really think of alternative options as to what I want to do. And I realized that Z, Tailwind, Kartana can actually do a lot of damage against that kind of team. And as you see, that actually happened. So.
I mean, also in addition with that, because once you get that set up, you get the critical hit increase, and you're literally getting critical hits after critical hits after critical hits. So
I had to rely on getting 2 critical hits against Mawile because that's a 50% chance with Sacred Sword because it's not it's a focus energy boost. So.
Yep. And then even with, I noticed he was able to set up the Trick Room also, but then at the same time, him setting up Trick Room let you bring in the Amoonguss, which then led you later in the end of that game to set up your own Tailwind, thanks to the Trick Room setting up all your spores. So what did you think about that?
There was one part where I noticed that my Amoonguss was faster than this Mawile in game 1, but then, and I thought that I had put the wrong Amoonguss in there, but then I realized that an Amoonguss and Tailwind could outrun a Mawile, and
gotcha.
That really helped a lot.
Nice. Well, do you have any shout-outs before we go on? I know we're still having some more matches finishing up, but...
I'd like to give a shout-out to Brian Yum and Matthias Lung for making this team. And this is the first time I've ever used the team, but it's working out.
Yeah, seems pretty strong. 5 Pokemon. I think it's still working. So congratulations again for this round, Alvin, and we'll be right back with round 7, the last round for the Swiss tournament. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to have a really strong match coming up.